so profound you need to watch it a second time. We'll pass that on to and share the folder as much as you want to administration or to friends. Great, so that we can get the information out there. And at any time that you are wanting to have information covered in a monthly webinar, make sure you are. There's 3 of us here that you can email us at any time so that we can put it on the agenda. And so without further ado, Cody Lee has graciously, as I see her at different meetings going, I just suck her in and tie her down so that she says yes. But Cody has a great program going on in Valley Center. I met her, I think, 3 years ago. When PJ was there, I was doing a tour, and I was very impressed. And then she was pretty new, doing what she was doing, and by no means, she's not going to tell you she's a pro at it, but what they have going on at Valley Center and what she's doing with the students and with the faculty is very positive. And I think that we really need to take a look at, as we're building that piece of our individual plans of study, and then that backside for our CTE students, that we look at model schools that are doing it well. So Cody, we're going to make sure that you can share your screen, and you're on.
Okay, let's see if you got this. Share screen. Very good. Can you see it?
Perfect.
Awesome. Like I said, this is my 3rd year here at Valley Center High School, and I started as our internship coordinator and love it. I think I have one of the coolest jobs in our high school. It's one of the things that I'm very, very proud of. And just seeing the growth of our program has been a lot of fun, because you really get to work with students, and you know how exciting it is when you get a student that's like super passionate about what they're doing, and they're getting engaged in what they're learning and things like that. So it's really fun to be a part of that and get to experience that. As you guys know, this is just kind of an overview of what our internship program is about and how they apply and how they get to be a part of that and what that means for our students. It does provide a higher level of Bloom's taxonomy. They're able to kind of figure out what they want to do, but more importantly, when they get placed in their professional learning opportunities, many of them figure out what they don't want to do. And that's what's even more exciting about it is, like, you know, at the end of the program, they are seniors, and it's only for seniors. They have to apply. But, you know, at the end of the semester, like, I've already had some like, look, I'm just not really digging this right now, and I'm not liking what I'm doing, and I thought I would. And I was like, that's fantastic. Like, they're all apologizing, and it's like, that's wonderful. And they're like, okay. I was like, well, let's figure out what we can do second semester. And what's fun about it is, like, second semester, they've kind of learned some of the skills and some of those soft skills that they need. They all have resumes developed. And so now second semester, if they choose to change, they have those skills to go out there and kind of advocate for themselves and maybe even find their own placements. And so that's been kind of fun also, to have them kind of go outside their comfort zone a little bit and try to like make some cold calls and be like, look, this is what our program's about. This is what we do. This is my experience first semester. And so I still kind of help guide and give them contacts if I have them and that kind of thing. But it's fun to see that growth that happens just in that semester. It's been a lot of fun. And when they're out working, they're getting experience that they just don't get in the classroom. I mean, I've had, and I'll talk a little bit later about what types of experiences that they're getting and some of the exposure that they're getting outside their regular day. There's tons and tons of jobs that are out there, and we have to try to figure out with individual learning plans what students are interested in and what is their spark. What is the one thing that they get super excited about? Because we all have students in class that may not be engaged and things like that. So really focusing in on that enrollment process and figuring out what are they excited about? What do they want to explore? And helping them find those tools to go forward. And I know that we're going to be using career cruising. We're actually at the very beginning stages of implementing career cruising, but we're going to kind of use that as their career research and like figure out what am I interested in, and then our teachers are going to help have those conversations. That way they kind of know what's out there based off what their interests are. And this young lady right here she was an intern last year, and I actually have another intern who wants to be a pilot. That's what she wants to do. And so we found a placement for her and the young man that's doing it this year as well with the same company, because they're finding that like our students, they go through an application process. And so we know that we're sending out like some of like our highest qualified students. You know, like we really have to maintain the integrity of the program. We don't send out all of our students, and we're actually trying to implement like a job shadow program. That way all students do have an opportunity. And I know Melinda Rangel does that at Newton and has a fabulous program, and we're trying to kind of model off of what she's doing there also, to meet the needs of all students. Because right now I have 26 interns and that's all I have. And many students in our school. So, and that's the fun of individual learning plans, is like trying to get that out there for all students. And so how do we meet the needs of all? But this young lady was able to, she's getting her pilot's license and she's already started working on it. She started to get some hours in it and kind of explore that a little bit. And it was fun to really see that. And then again, build that relationship because of the, soft skills that she had and the things that we were doing in class and all of that. Just a fantastic young lady. They were able to continue on, and we built that partnership with that business, and now they're continuing on this semester also. So it's been fun to kind of grow with the businesses, and they understand the value of the program, so they continue to work with us. These are some of the areas that we have students that have worked in, and I do have some different ones this year. We have a lot of nursing, a ton of nursing, all kinds of different areas, business. We've had fire science, tons in education. We do try to keep our education interns here within our school because it is a win-win situation. It helps out our teachers, and they're getting to like get up and like actually teach lessons in class, and the teacher's always there to give them feedback, and they're learning how to deal with discipline, and you know, they're just like getting their hands dirty and really kind of like helping students out, walking around. They don't just sit back and observe. They're integrated into, and that's kind of with all of the internships. Medical is a little bit different. Simply because they can't do a lot of the procedures, of course, but you know, they're in the OR room. We just had a student last week that witnessed an open heart surgery. I'm like, I never got to see anything like that when I was in high school, and wish I would have had that opportunity. So, but it helps them understand, can they do this long term? Is that something that they can physically or even handle to experience? You know, I mean, can they handle the blood and all that kind of stuff? So it gives them that hands-on opportunity. So these are just kind of some of the ones that we have. Engineering is a tough placement, I'm finding, and law, because there are so many guidelines. Some of them have to be 18. Some of them have different guidelines. They want them already in college because they want to hire them right away. They kind of want to train, build with them. So there are some that are difficult placements, but I was able to get a young man in engineering this year again, and he's actually presenting at our city, one of our upcoming city council meetings. They're putting in a new dog park here in Valley Center, and so he's going to be able to like present that project, and he's done a lot of the development and things like that. So that's kind of fun, and I'm going to get to go there and support him and work with our city administrator and plus the engineering consultant company, and he's seeing how they're even working with the city. So that's been a lot of fun, and get to explore that with them. This is some of our business partners, and just kind of what our day kind of, or our month kind of looks like. You just kind of like go out and do visits with them, touch base with them, build those partnerships with the community members, because they want to make sure that what they're teaching, number one, what they're teaching our students is, you know, valuable to them, and but also kind of just watch and observe with the students and just see, are they enjoying their experience? Are they truly engaged? And kind of have those conversations. There's been some that I've had with a couple times where I go and, you know, they're just kind of sitting in the back. I'm like, oh, you got it. And so we develop kind of a plan, and we have goals set forward for them. Be like, you know, next time I come, I really want to see you doing this, and have that conversation with the business owners and our partners, and develop some goals together. That's really, really fun. And because then you start to see that growth, and the student, they want to be engaged, and that's been a lot of fun as well. We do have a Twitter page, so if you haven't ever gone on there, you can follow us. The interns, I've really kind of encouraged them this year to, we talk a lot about social media and how that affects you in employment, and really trying to encourage them to have a positive social media presence. And so I was like, every now and then just post about the cool things that you're doing in your internship, and let us know, let people know what you're learning. That way, I mean, it's promoting them as an individual. It's promoting our businesses that we're partnering with, and promoting the program also. And so I do encourage you to go in and follow. You can kind of scroll through and see some of the things that they're doing. I ask them that they post every single week. Some of them don't have social media accounts, so I work with those students in other ways, and that way we kind of get some pictures of just some of the things that they're learning in their internships. And I know one of them posted about you might see inside there if you go look at it, some of the students that did the open heart surgery, and so she was super excited about that. And there's so much more in there though, and it just talks a little bit, and you kind of get an idea of what they're doing. So I encourage you to follow that as well.
Thank you, Jen.
We also do different levels of professional development. So once a month, and last year I did this every 2 weeks, but I kind of took on a new role this year. I did take over for Mr. Riley, he left. But we do professional development once a month in the classroom, where we talk about all of the soft skills. Like last week we had, beginning of November, we had our human resources panel. So I brought in like 7 different business people from the community and surrounding area that do hiring. And all of the interns came with questions ahead of time, and that they wanted to know about specific things about resume writing. One of the things was the job objective section on the resume. It was really intriguing to hear them say that part of the resume hurts students more than it helps them. And it was really interesting to hear that coming from them, because sometimes that they're poorly worded or whatever the case may be, but a lot of times they just kind of skip over that. And overall, that's what they said. And I thought that was really interesting coming from business and industry. So I even learned a lot from those panel members. They talked about what are some of the biggest weaknesses that students go through, or high school students go through in an interview. What does the most successful job interview look like? And then they all had an opportunity at the end of that to kind of go through a little mini mock interview. And we'll go through another mock interview later on in this spring semester. Well, it'll be a full-blown interview. But this was an opportunity for panel members to just look through their resumes also and kind of give them some feedback. What looks good? What would you change? They talk about like the bulleted items inside your resume. And when you put those in there, we use the action verbs underneath our or the jobs that we've done in our resume, but like you really need to show impact. And like, what impact did you make during your internship? And so it was really fun for them to have that conversation, be like, oh, well, I've done this, this, and this. And like, okay, now let's say that in your resume. Let's not say that you just, the specific job duties, but what impact did you make? And so that was really insightful for them. And it's fun because, as you know, it was fun for them to hear it from somebody outside. Tucky Allen, that was at the CTE coordinator meeting last time in Wichita, he was one of the panel members and really gave some great feedback to some of our students. And I tell you that he's with Kansas Workforce One, and he was a fabulous resource, and the students really enjoyed it. It's one of the highlights of the year for the students. They do have to, we talk about resume. Every week, the students, when they have to journal while they're doing their professional learning, and every week we have a different soft skill that they focus on. And so then they blog about those, and we'll talk about the blogs, and I can show you a link to those here in just a little bit if you wanted to go in and just look at some of the students' blogs, because we do post them out on our website for everybody to see. So we do have a summer conference where we talk to the students about planning, what the expectations of the program are, and that is required. It actually happens before school starts, but it's just part of the process. How you present yourself at your internship. Communication is probably the biggest thing, and different ways that we do that. We share Google Calendars, so if they're gone for a school event or something like that, they learn how to communicate all that different ways to do that. And then at the end of the year, they do a final showcase, and they talk about what they learned. And then they just kind of reflect on their experience and they do an online portfolio. And we invite all of the business members, our business partners, to attend that, parents, grandparents. We usually have a fantastic turnout for that. And it's just kind of a way for them to wrap up their senior year, but then they talk about, based off of this experience, this is where I'm going to go next year, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is why the internship program was valuable to me and how it affected me. And that's always such a great experience. So I mean, if anybody would like to attend that, I can let you know when that will be. It's right before graduation. It's kind of their big thing that they do before graduation. So if anybody is interested in like starting an internship program, kind of want to see what that looks like, I'd be more than happy to have you attend that. And there are some guidelines for our students that we do have in place for them to enter the program. They have to have at least a 2.0 GPA. So it's, I don't think that these are like super strong requirements. They do have to have good behavior and attendance records. We want to make sure that if we're sending them out in the community, we want to make sure that they're going to be there. And so that's something that we take into consideration when the students apply. They have to get 4 references, 2 of them in district and 2 out of district. They write an essay just to look at their writing skills and communication skills there. They have to submit a resume. And we keep in mind that some of them haven't had a lot of guidance in their resume writing and things like that, but it's just a starting point just to kind of see what experiences they have in advance, and then some type of digital portfolio. Some of them do PowerPoint, some of them do like an online, they'll use Wix or Weebly or something like that to create their digital portfolios. Here we have Kansas Career Pipeline assessment results, but we will change that to Career Cruising because we are kind of transitioning right now. And then every single student is granted at least an interview. So we do interview at least every single student. Unfortunately, I think we had 40 students apply last year, and we had 26 in our program. So we don't really have a cutoff number necessarily, just kind of like what we can handle with the staff that we have in place and hours and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that are kind of taken into consideration. But we're finding that the biggest thing that prevents students right now is just attendance. Those are the ones that kind of ended up not really making it. We're probably the ones that overall, I would say, it's kind of like some of them are case-by-case basis. So throughout the program, we do have a program that they fill out. Parents sign it, their supervisors, our business partners sign it, where they kind of set their goals. What are they wanting to get out of the program? They do their blogs. We do have to keep track of their time, because we have to make sure that they get their seat time every single day in their internship. And actually, some of them may not even go every day, but if they get the number of hours per week that they would get for the regular classroom time, so they have to log that, and the supervisors sign off on their time logs. Like I said, they did the workshops every other week. We started out every other week. Now we're going to once a month. They do the summer conference. We do on-site evaluations, and the supervisor. In fact, I just got some good data from our business partners who evaluated the students. So each student will get like an evaluation, like a formal evaluation, as if they would get like if they were just actually on the job. And so that's fun. So they're getting ready to receive those. And it's also great data because it talks about our evaluations talk about a lot of the soft skills. And so overall, I'm going to share the overall data with them, and then they get to see their personal data. And then they're going to be able to use that evaluation. Most of them are going to be able to use that in their portfolios for when they're applying for jobs and say, look, this is my past performance. So, and then they'll have that kind of in their back pocket, which is kind of fun also. And then, of course, they have their final presentation at the end of the year. This is a link to our blogs, so you're welcome to take a look there. I may go ahead, whoopsie, sorry about that. I wanted to pull up our website so you could kind of see that. I couldn't get the link to work earlier. But inside, if you go to usd262.net, you can see our high school internship program. And it has a lot of extra information inside here. So here's all of our fine young men and women. The requirements to enter our program are all listed right there. So you could take a look and I kind of talked about some of those. They'll actually apply online as well. And so it kind of walks them through the steps. And then here are our blogs. And so if you ever want to just like take some time, you can kind of see where each student is placed. We have a partnership with Wesley Medical Center, so some of them will maybe go like Monday, Wednesday, Friday to one location, and then Tuesday, Thursday to the other location. So these are our fine young and women that we have, men and women that we have this year, and it's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. So there's our blogs. We do have an Intern of the Month program, and it's a big board that's like out in our commons area, and the students have to, of course, they have to be in the intern program to be a part of this, but kind of choose, it's kind of like an employee of the month, you know, and so it gives them an opportunity to kind of get recognized. I don't do it in August because August is kind of like they come partway through August, and I don't do it in May either. So it only runs September through April, and they get their picture posted there. And I actually have another, I partner with our English department, and they always have somebody that writes articles for our local newspaper. And then so they get recognized in the local newspaper as well for being an Intern of the Month. As far, like I talked to you about the electronic career portfolios that the students create, this is part of their final. Hopefully that pops up. Can't get that link to work. I wonder if I do this. Oh, I won't be able to show it to you. I can email that out if you guys are interested in seeing that. But this is just their portfolios that they create. Just kind of like wraps up who they are. It has a link to their resume inside there, and it just kind of says it's the ones that they present for that final internship program at the very end. And I can probably, I wonder if I can pull that up here, but you can maybe write that down or something like that. That was a young lady. This young lady was also in Future Business Leaders of America, and this is actually she entered the event Electronic Career Portfolio. She had to kind of change her portfolio a little bit to meet their guidelines, but she made it to the national competition, so that was kind of fun. I got to take her to nationals over the summer, and she competed in that event, and that was a fun experience also. So it kind of went hand in hand with CTSO as well. It was a lot of fun. So that's kind of all I have. I did put in a link, and I know that I saw that in the agenda as well, that shows like a sample of our time logs. If there's anything that anybody has questions, or you just want to come and see, or you're like I said, you're welcome to come to our showcase at the end of the year just to kind of get an overview. You really kind of get to hear the kids have lots of pictures that they put in their portfolios, like the veterinary office, and I mean there's all kinds of things, but another thing that's really cool that the students gain exposure to is just that industry perspective of, like, we have students that, for instance, in the healthcare field, they have to abide by those HIPAA laws. And so like when I talk to them about like pictures and things like that, when you're posting on social media, you have to be very careful about what you're posting, because I encourage them to use Twitter to create that professional image, but they have to be cautious of that. You can't have any patient records or anything like that. So they talk about what they're learning and not who they're seeing or anything like that. So that's been a fun conversation also, even in teaching, our teaching interns, that some of our parents don't want their students' pictures posted on social media. And so they're learning that kind of thing as well. So yeah, that's kind of all I have. What questions do you have for me?
Is there? Oh, chat. All right. From Angela, how long do the students go each day, or how long do the students go each day, or do they go each week a few days? And does this take a place of a regular class for them?
Yes, it does take the place of a regular class. So most of them are placed like first and second hour. So they go at the very beginning of the day, or they go at the very end of the day. And so we try to like focus it on whatever works for their schedule. And our principal actually will take all of the list of who we find out who our interns are, what their interests are, what hours work best. And then so like he'll even kind of try to match the master schedule to work with with our interns, because they have to have their English and they have to have their government. And so he tries to kind of make sure that there's opportunities in both areas and that it all matches with the master schedule. So. So it kind of varies. They have to have their seat time. If they, let's say that they're enrolled in internship first and second hour, but maybe the business doesn't even open till 9 o'clock. Well, that doesn't really work with that student. So they may go in and put their hours in from 5 to 7 every single day. And so it doesn't have to necessarily be during those hours as long as they have their seat time.
Okay, another question. Are your internships tied to pathways as the application level course? And if so, do the teachers in the curriculum areas monitor the competencies?
Yes. Yes, they monitor the competencies, and so I communicate with them. We communicate with them, and they'll come in occasionally and like work with our what am I trying to say? Our workshop days. And so they'll come and work and they'll spend time with them. Or if it doesn't work, if that teacher's in class, then they work with them outside of the day and they'll just like meet with them occasionally to talk about those competencies. But yes, they are the application level classes.
What happens with those students who are not accepted or for whatever reason? Do they get some sort of remediation? You're so sweet.
Love. So I do talk with them about and talk with them one-on-one. So I don't just say like, sorry, you weren't accepted. I visit with every single student that applies, and I do give them an explanation as to why. And then so if the reason was, hey, you had a lot of tardies, like you can't do this in business and industry. And so like they get that, but I think moving forward with individual learning plans, that remediation is kind of going to go hand in hand, and they're going to get it along the way because they're going to be talking about the soft skills, and they're going to be getting a lot of that stuff. So I think they're going to be coming in even more prepared, which is going to make it even more difficult as we choose who those interns are. But moving forward, like I said, we're also trying to get like our job shadow program in place. And so if they don't make it, we will like highly encourage those students. Hey, look, we're not going to be able to have you for internship, but hey, let's go ahead and make sure that you still get some exposure and be able to explore these careers that you're interested by doing some job shadows.
So can you go ahead, since you mentioned your job shadows, could you just give us a little bit of what you do with your job shadow program, especially possibly for students who maybe weren't accepted into the professional learning experience opportunity?
Yeah, currently we don't have a job shadow program in place. And so that's what we're actually working towards, actually giving a presentation to the board in December on that. And so, but I will say that Melinda Rangel has been fabulous and given some really great resources on that. And I know she's willing to share. She shared with me. So she would be a resource as far as like how to implement that program. I was actually working on all the documentation and everything before this webinar started this morning. So I know it's something that, you know, we'll meet with the students in advance, and I really don't have anything in place right now, so I don't really want to say, but like, I know it's being developed.
Okay, well, we'll come back in the spring and maybe catch up with you guys and see what's happening with the job shadow part. And I know there's some more questions, so I'll let Jody go back to those.
Okay, so generally speaking, what type of kids are taking advantage of the PLEs?
Right now, gosh, it's a wide variety. We have a wide, are you talking like specifically types of students, like what types of job interest, or I'm not sure what you're asking necessarily.
David, if you would unmute yourself, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, are these kids who are kind of towards the top of your academic performance spectrum, or are they kind of all over on that spectrum? In other words, in our small school, and granted we haven't done anything like this before yet, but and we're working with Joni to get stuff like this started, but you know, it seems to me like kids who are more oriented towards ag sciences and things like that would be the ones who would be most likely to participate. Have you had kids all over the academic spectrum participate?
Yes, we've had kids absolutely all over the academic spectrum, and it varies. And that's one of the fun challenges of it, is that I've learned so much. I mean, I've learned a lot. I have a young man in horticulture, and I'm like, I don't even know where, I didn't even know where to start. My background is business. So they're kind of all over the place. So and that makes it fun. Pilots, I like my experience with pilots, slim to none. And so you just really tailor it to what their interests are, and also explain to them, like, we do the best we can on placements, but some of them just have their own guidelines on whether or not they can take them or not. But
Sure.
As far as the students goes, it is a very, very wide variety, because you really want to kind of tailor it to them.
Okay, thank you.
And David, I'd like to bounce them up that this is our first year in Cheney to do it. We have 12 kids, and it's kind of this over the spectrum. And we have a girl who has a 32 on her ACT, and had a internship with the military. She's with a recruiter, and he was going to be able to show her the aerospace and some of the stuff we couldn't get her out to. And he had retired people come talk to her, and just we felt would be motivating because she's one of those top kids and likes a little motivation. Yeah, she's no longer in our program. So we are learning a lot our first year, and taking pieces like Miss Positive over here, Cody. She's staying positive today. I'm going to give you a little of the junk of when you implement this program. You have to have thick skin, because even though you have the best plan in place, when those kids make those choices, and they look good on record. And so I like what Cody has is the 2.0, and I wrote that down because we really don't have a grade scale. We didn't put that in there because we wanted to open it up. And so there are the good stories of those kids, and there's some multiple facts too. We have more questions. This is a great question from Deb. Are you the teacher on record for all the internships? If so, how does your district fulfill requirement for the highly qualified certified status on the pathway applications?
Yeah, that does come to be a challenge. But I'm not the teacher of record on all of our students. I can focus on our business students because I can work with them specifically and help them develop goals and make sure that we're meeting the competencies. And so we're actually, like, sometimes the teacher of record isn't highly qualified. And we just take that hit because we have, and it doesn't happen very often. We try to make sure that it works. But what happens is you have to do what's best for kids. And so when it comes down to it, on paper, it's not always the highly qualified instructor, but if we can structure the master schedule to where it works and that teacher can work with those individuals, we really try to make it work, or they work after hours or whatever the case may be. But we really, really, really try hard to make sure that it is, and there's only I can think of once a year, or maybe one student a year that we haven't been able to make that work, but we try.
Cody, how do you get your teachers to buy into that? Because I know we've got our internships tied to specific teachers, specific classes. They've got a lot of ownership in that. And I guess maybe it's because I'm inheriting a program the way it's set up. I'm just really interested in the way you've been able to make this work, because I've hit some resistance if I've gone and tried, I'm not even saying I'm trying to make changes with them, but they really had ownership. And then also, if it's tied, is it considered a class period they're teaching for their master contract? I can see some issues with that with teachers in our district.
Mm-hmm. I think I heard what you said. You were kind of cutting in and out, but really I just haven't had that much kickback at all, because I do the majority of the work. I do, there's very little that they have to do. The only thing that they do is double check those competencies, make sure that they're getting it. They really don't even communicate as much with our business partners, if at all. Some of them meet them for the first time at the showcase when they come for the showcase. But really, I just emphasize to the teachers, you know what, I do the majority of the work, and there's very little that they even have to do. We haven't had any problems there at all. So I think as long as they know that there's not a lot on your part at all, then we just don't have any trouble with it at all.
I know at Colby, I was the lead consultant for that, but we just set them up in their student data management system as the lead teacher, and then I was a co-teacher for that class or that assignment. So I did the coordination, similar to what Cody's doing here, but the highly qualified, the content area instructor also played a role in identifying the objectives, the outcomes, the target areas, the learning skills, etc., that we were involved, and also the application process was approved by that lead instructor as well. So sometimes with your small schools and even your larger schools, maybe it's a collaboration of several people, one's carrying out the daily task of managing your professional learning experience program within your highly qualified staff supporting all the academic components of that. So those might be some areas to look at.
And that's a good point, because a lot of what we're doing right now with those teachers, the biggest thing, and probably one of the only things, is really helping with the goals. And that's so important, because I don't know about engineering, that's not my background. And so they can really kind of tailor their goals and help us out with that part of it. And then the supervisors sign off on it. And so then it's just that kind of triangulation of I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's the biggest part, is just kind of helping develop those goals that I can't really focus on in some of the areas. It's just not my background.
Are there other questions?
David, did you get all your questions answered?
Yeah, I see that they came in on like 3 different pieces, so I return ones. Sorry about that.
Okay, if there's any more questions, we'll go ahead and let me know in the chat. I'm going to share my screen and show, I'm going to show what Cody was trying to, because it's amazing. Can you guys see that now?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That is remarkable. Number one, what a doll that little gal is. But look up here, and Cody, it's on the screen, so if you want to talk a little bit about this, is really neat.
Yes. So I have certain criteria, the things that they have to have in their portfolio, but they can use whatever platform they want. Some of them, most of them actually used Wix this year. And so I'm going to kind of encourage Weebly a little bit more this year when they do those portfolios, because I'm finding that a lot of college, like Wichita, WSU came and they talked that a lot of the colleges are using Weebly to create these. So I kind of just say here's what you need to have in it. And then how you design it is totally up to you. So this young lady, as you can see, wanted to be a nurse practitioner. They had to have, and all of these things linked to different parts on her portfolio. They had to have an About Me page. I don't know, I'm trying to remember what all the guidelines were for all of those kinds of things. Yeah, point out things that she has a part that's hey, I'm good with kids. And so she's also very involved in dance. So she talked about her extracurricular and how that tied into, and how she was able to work with students, because if she works with any level with maybe pediatrics. You can see a link to her resume there. She has a link to her blog there as well. So I have them make sure that they include that. A lot of them didn't want to put their actual elevator speech, so you can kind of see that she hid that, because nobody likes to see video of themselves. So they all kind of created a little elevator speech, because we talk about that when you run into somebody. That's one of the topics in our workshops in our professional development that I do with them, is creating an elevator speech. When somebody says, tell me a little bit about yourself, our high school kids, they don't really know how to answer that. So you have 30 seconds. What are you going to say? How are you going to sell yourself? In their personal documents, they have their resume. They do get letters of recommendation, so they include those in there also. What are you planning to do after you leave Bally's, or after you leave our school? And so, she had it broke down, and even had all the way down to the classes and links to the college website. She'd really kind of done her homework and really talked about what her goals were post-secondary. Her skills section, I'm trying to even remember, it's been, goodness, this young lady graduated. Oh, yes. So they can take I told them to take some of those interest surveys that they take, and which is the one, the Gallup poll, that's the one that I'm thinking of. It tells them what their traits are, and then now list these traits, but now talk about and give some evidence. And so she can talk about all of the different things that showed up inside there. That was kind of fun. And I think she linked the pictures with it. And I think that a lot of the gallery images are the same images that are probably in her blog. And then they all have a contact me page that, it actually works. And so you all could even go in there and say, hey, I saw your portfolio. She would get it. It goes directly to her email. So Yeah, very impressive. That's really fun, and community members love to see this, and the parents love to see this. And it was kind of funny because some of them linked this to their Valley Center High School email, and that's what they did last year. And I already had interns that messaged me and said, "Hey, it's linked to it's linked to that email account, but I remember my password, and it's trying to email me my password." They're like, "How can I access my portfolio?" And so they were they're using it, which is kind of fun to know that, you know, this is your portfolio that you take with you. And so I'm going to encourage them this year to use a personal email address when they create those.
Great. What a wonderful example that you've shared with us, and just extensive amount of work you've done. Hopefully you are maybe putting this out to some of the conference presentations that come up in the future, because I think we have a lot of people across the state that are looking for ideas to implement professional learning experiences. I know on the smaller scale side with small schools, some of the ones in the western part of the state where I come from in Colby area, we don't have nearly the resources that you might have available. So just for those of you that are looking at professional learning experiences within a community that may be very limited, one thought might be to look at your healthcare or your medical facility. Say you have a hospital or a healthcare center, you can hit most of the pathways just through that one business partner. You can get to hospitality through the culinary and the dietary program. You can get the business office. You can get housekeeping. You can get IT. You can get landscape. You can get construction and maintenance. There's lots of different areas within that one business industry. So if you are looking at the list of all the businesses that Cody had available to her students, and you go, we don't have any of these, look within your own community and see what you do have, and see what things you could develop with the limited resources that you have available, and just start growing those. Cody, you have done a wonderful job with marketing and getting your students to get their information out there, to market themselves and self-advocate. This would be such a great skill for all of our students to have as they finish their IPS process and move on to the post-secondary. And you can certainly see she's probably going to be a completer, and she's also going to have high retention rate probably in whatever post-secondary program she goes into, because obviously she's been making a lot of deposits into her career account, as well as all your students that are involved in the professional learning experiences. If anyone else has other things that you're doing at your school, within your systems, that might tie in or be good suggestions for us, please jump in and add to us. This is open dialogue. You don't have to do just the chat part as well, but maybe some other chats have come up that Jody maybe can go back to. They're new ones. Okay. If there's anyone else that wants to share what you're doing. If not, there is also on the link the toolkit from KSCE if you're looking for a way to just get started. How do I know what to look for in setting up professional learning experiences? I know with Colby, we require the students to have had some classes within the pathway. We don't send students out into a professional learning experience without some basic skill sets. So we like them to have been in a pathway. That's where our individual plans of study are going to support that whole process of students moving forward. And also looking at that earlier in their programs of study development is to what is going out there and what kinds of classes do they need to get in order, what sequence of classes do they need to take. So Jody's just kind of flipping through some of the pages within Colby's model. It's very long and cumbersome, and it may be something that we need to shorten up a little bit, but it took all the guidelines from the state. I know there's many things about liability, and those might be things that you have to address within your own local district about students going out on the job, etc. So just some resources for you to refer to.
There was one question, Cody, did you see that? Was that on the link for Kaylee that I posted, I did tie that into, is that open to the public? Like if they just click on that link, can anybody access that?
We didn't, and the only reason that I don't have them put their portfolios is out there is because it has so much personal information with their resumes and all that kind of stuff. So we don't post those out there. But if there is, I know Kaylee, the one that we showed you earlier, she said that I'd be willing to share and all that kind of stuff. She's very open to that. So she says, sure, maybe it'll get me a job.
So you're okay, like, yes, we took this back to students and said, you know, whatever format we're using, that we can use hers as here's a sample of an actual student that is, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank her for giving permission.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I will. She'll be elated too that people are going to be using it. So.
And I did go ahead, you guys, as Cody talked, I was updating on that agenda. So those links are just in there underneath Cody's presentation. And so now it's updated, so you can just click in there for easy access. And the only other thing I did put a link in, I'm not going to show you. There's Colby's that I just showed you is also linked in there. And then I did put a link to the PLE toolkit from the website. Now, again, if you've been on that and tried to use that as a source, it's very long and cumbersome. But again, when you're starting out, it is really good, detailed information to highlight the items to think about, and then adapt it to your school and your environment. Again, when you're a smaller town, smaller school, you still have to think of the legality pieces for your students. You know, what if they did get kicked out of the program? What are you going to do with them now on your schedule? You need to think all of those out as you're doing the program. So there are just some resources there for you.
For some of you, and hopefully you never get to this part, but sometimes we have to write an improvement plan and we have to intervene. There may be a student that's on a work experience and it's not going terribly well. You meet with the business partner, you meet with the student, and you might have to write an improvement plan. So I know in that toolkit there is some guidance and direction on how to conduct those and what you might include in those. In the years that I was at Colby doing the individual plans of study, I think we only had to write one. And so that says a lot for our process at the state as far as getting things out there and having students prepared to go into these jobs, but also many of the things that Cody presented with her seminar sessions before they go into the workplace, the breakout or looping out activities where you're bringing in panels, you're doing employability skills. Those are all very important factors to help students be successful with these learning experiences. So this is a learning opportunity for students, and we're kind of the guide on the side, and that's what we do as we go through these processes. So dig in, and hopefully we can have some of you back with some more ideas later, and we'll certainly look forward to some information maybe on job shadowing experiences, because those may be taking place in your middle level classes as well as your early secondary programs. So, any other questions or thoughts on the professional learning experiences?
Jody, how did you say you were going to make those other resources available?
Can you look at the chat?
Yes.
On the chat, I scroll to the very, very top.
Okay.
There's two links, one to the direct agenda, and the other one's actually to the Google Drive folder. And
okay.
So just use the Google Drive folder, make sure you mark it, and then that has October's, November's in it. It has September's, I think, in it, but it doesn't have anything recorded. We're new at recording Zoom. So we've got the other couple recorded, so we just linked all that in there. So take a look. If you guys have any trouble, let me know, and we'll update it so that you always have easy access, because you know, as a CTE person, when you go to the website, they have the table of contents has gotten a lot better for CTE, but we still are going all over the places trying to find our resources. So if we can try to help you narrow that down to one area, that will help us as well. So.
Okay.
And just a reminder, we are archiving these, so if you have other members of your team that weren't able to attend today, and you want to share Cody's presentation, it'll be out there for you, and you can access these throughout the year.
Okay. Thanks, Cody.
You bet.
Yes, thank you, Terry. Okay.
I think we'll move into some of our other agenda items at this time, and that would be to look at the CTE 101 kind of areas of review of the pathway changes and updates. Do you have anything to add there?
On the changes and updates, one of the things that I'm going to go to the fact sheet, that link goes directly to the fact sheet. Those of you who are new, this is for 17-18, you know you have March 15th deadline to get your pathways updated. And one of the things I was talking to Jenny about this morning is I have my advisory meeting next week. And so I'm going through and just kind of getting folders ready for our teachers and some different things. And, you know, I have energy pathway, and they've moved it into the agriculture cluster, and I'm like, oh, I don't have agriculture. Even though we are looking at agriculture, it's not at 100% that, you know, that's something we're doing. So there's some changes there that you really need to take a look at, making sure you're looking at those, any course number changes, those type of things, because that's, some of you guys do it all. But when I came to Cheney, there was 9 people involved in what course codes, STCO, CTE, you name it, and nobody really knew their role. So we've narrowed it down to 4 people, and we're able to manage our communication to where things are moving, you know, smoother. I'm going to say perfect, but smoother now. So this is a link, and make sure you're taking a look at that. So as you're doing your advisory board, or you're having those conversations with administration for next year, or you're planning your pathways, always take a look at the updated version for course numbers, making sure that whoever does your course numbers in your district has this sheet. Because if you have a current class and the course number changed, you're going to be cursing in April 1st. So.
Right. And next month in December, we'll have a KSDE staff giving some more updates and information on some of the changes that will be taking place. So put us on your agenda for December 9th, and we'll get you some more updates on that before you all are doing heavy work into your pathways. But like Jody said, go to that fact sheet. That'll be a first indicator, first kind of filter for you to start getting things in place.
The second thing I wanted to make sure everybody had access to, the first one is the SEEK data. And your SEEK data is, I'm going to go to the website. It's on your KSD website. And if I just go back to KSDE and authenticated, yes, okay, let's just go to KSDE. Is your authenticated applications over here. So I'm going to take myself, I need to kind of see, do you guys all have access to the SEEK data in your building? Yes? Okay. How about the KPAC to do your certifications? Everybody? Perfect. Okay, just remember then as we go into, you go in and you're doing your reporting, that the KPAC is open now. And so if you have kids that are meeting the certifications, and that's something you're doing here before December, as they do their certifications, get in there and update them. So you're not always doing them at one time. So the KPAC is open. The other piece of the SEEK data is, just to let you know, it pulls from the National Student Clearinghouse. And this data is very, very important as you look where your students are going, if they've had remedial courses,
Right.
and how many of those went the second year, and so on. And so this is, even though the SEEK data pulls from the National Clearinghouse, it also pulls from KBOR. It is a year behind because National Student Clearinghouse is updated because whoever enrolled in the fall is going to be tracked. The SEEK data is a year behind, but it is a good starting point for you if you're talking data for individual plans of study. If you're, what do we need to do in our school to get these kids out of remediation in their freshman level courses in college, this type of thing. So, and the beauty of it is free. So if your school says, I'm not paying $450 for the National Student Clearinghouse, that's great. SEEK data will get the job done. and give you the information needed as you build. It's just, it's, again, just a year behind. It'll be updated after school closes, basically. Colleges closes in March. Okay.
I know several of you, as we're looking through the IPS process, some of them, the question comes up on accountability. So basically the SEEK data and your clearinghouse data is going to give you information back. Are you doing what you say you're doing? And so you can maybe bring that data back to your district, have discussions about it, and really look at your demographics of your student body.
Clint, great. Hillsborough is going to begin advisory meetings in a couple weeks. Are these the first ones? The regional, excuse me.
Yeah. And they're willing to have anybody join us on Zoom, so we can do regional.
Yeah. Okay, so that is something that Max started last year, and I know some people jumped on board. So if you are looking at a pathway, and we will be one in agriculture. If I couldn't find, I know I can, but if I couldn't find people in agriculture and the regional committee had ag, the state has said we can meet, through Zoom, and we can put those board members on ours. And so that's the beauty of it. So Clint, you are the contact person over there. Everybody look in their chat box and take a look at that. Thank you, Clint, for taking over that. That's awesome.
No problem.
It helps a lot of us.
Like I said, just let us know so we know to get the equipment or not if you want to do it.
Clint, do you have a list of, do you have certain days, certain pathways are meeting?
Yeah, I will have, I'll probably have that by Monday of all the exact dates. Should I just send that to you, Jody?
Send it to me, and then I can send it out to the list, and I'll also put it into that folder too. And so if it's just a document, and that everybody can access that. And I'll just put a reminder out to superintendents, CTE directors. I send everything to superintendents, CTE directors, counselors, and high school principals. And so that's the list that everybody gets. And so somebody's going to see that and say, oh, maybe we should take advantage of this. As of Tuesday next week, you might be busy. Thank you.
Yep.
And I think you're already getting requests, so that's awesome. All right.
News and updates.
Throw the K-Pack up there just so they see.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and click on the K-Pack. And I think Cleveland's going to talk about a little bit of the K-Pack. They've updated this on KSTE.
Yes, the K-Pack Kansas Pathway Assessments and Credentials, that was updated here in November. And the nice thing is they fixed it so it's a little more black and white, because there's the end of pathway assessment, which ones will count for that, which ones will count for completer status, and which ones are, recognized by the State Department as professional certifications. And they have it here listed by pathway. At this point, they do not have the precision exams on here yet, because they're by course and rather than by pathway. But I do know that there's some things in works to take and actually get those added down the road. But this way, you've got a black and white list for each pathway as to what the state is recognizing for credentials for completer status.
Yeah, and if you were at CTE, they pushed this out pretty fast. They promised, and they delivered. So that is impressive, because there's a lot of kids, once they changed your concentrator status, there's just so much confusion. And so This is if you haven't taken a look at this, hopefully, even for the old people who've been in it for a little while, this is just black and white. Here it is. And we can talk to our administration about this is why, or our teachers, this is why we really need to search out some of these certifications and do this for our kids.
And I was really happy when they were willing to make it more black and white so that you could, because I had said, why don't we have X's so that they can literally tell what will work and what will not. Make it more black and
So
white.
as you're doing your pathway applications, and you need to put in that fourth area of your pathway maintenance applications, you can go back to this list and put some of those assessments and credentials in that field and populate that as you go through your updates for 17-18.
Right. I
Perfect.
think we're ready for Jody now.
Okay.
Yes.
We just, when we're talking, there's a lot of confusion in the IPS, so I just really just emailed the state and just said, hey, some of your literature says this, some of your literature says this. So, and in the individual plans of study, this is what I got back, and it is copied. KSD's expectation is that middle school, high schools have adopted an IPS tool and an IPS process by the end of 17-18. I think we kind of all knew that, and so schools are in the process of either they've already purchased and getting their reimbursement, and or they're going to the board here in the next few months to get it this spring so that they have it ready for August. We know that. This says KSD has not firmed up expectations yet for the 18-19. KSD will have that out before the end of 2016. KSD is focused on what schools are telling us in the IPS information survey. And if you're a counselor, you probably got this implementation survey results, and if you did not get this, you can look at this. It talks about who's doing what, how much percentage, what stage they're in, and so they're using this. The confusion came from many schools. It says, well, can I grandfather classes in 18-19, meaning, okay, I got a tool purchased and we're going to train our staff 17-18, but in 18-19, can I just do the 8th and 9th grade, or can I do whatever? And so that's where the confusion was. So that's what I have as an update.
And there's some chats.
Oh, there's some chats.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. No, Angela, your product, remember there's two things, a product and a process. Your product can be your own Google Doc, using OwnNet, using free resources out there for any of your inventories, okay? So your product and your process, as you're moving forward, your product, if you're not purchasing anything, you're A-okay. If you are creating your own, A-okay. So no, that's fine. So what they're saying is that way they put it that way because they're not going to reimburse anybody after September 1st. If you purchase September 2nd next year, career cruising, you just lost out on almost about $1,200, give or take. So no, you don't have to purchase anything. They want you to use whatever is comfortable for your school. I'm working with a school that has 12 students in their graduating class. Do they need to buy a $1,500 product for, the 100 kids in their whole school? Not even 100. No. Are they doing something digitally? They will. Okay. Angela, did that answer your question? Okay. So yeah, just like a KISA model, just like anything else, this is a process, and what you're doing is taking that time to lay out that process, and I think that what the vision everybody has is with purpose and intention, and as we tweak it as we go, the state's going to be A-okay with it. Upcoming events, the National ACT Conference, if you've registered, there's still time to register to go. Amazing sessions there. I will honestly say I've gone for the last 3 years, and it's the best concert, maybe because it's in Vegas this year. It's the best conference that I've been to. I really go from 8 to about 8 or 9 at night. There's things to do, socials to go to if you're a member of certain groups, just a great networking. And then there's the Career and Technical Education Annual February Conference that's in Manhattan. And again, they have packed this. We had the privilege of seeing what the draft looks like for the agenda. And I think that you guys should check that out. That's some good strands there. And look at those. And if you have CTE teachers, it's a really hard time for ag at that time. They're very busy. But if you have some CTE teachers, one thing that we never get to address that I really like, I went through the draft, there's a lot of AB communication strands, pathway sessions, and that we don't see much. So that is really positive for your AB communications teachers, and they work hard with all the yearbook and the newspaper and all that other stuff, and maybe get them out of the building and take a look at what's going on. So, okay, you're up.
Well, and then we have the Career Expo next week.
Oh.
Just the last little plug, because
Yes.
we have over 2,600 students registered to attend the event and about 100 vendors. So ESSDACK is very excited to launch this first event next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. And if you have not signed up your students or you're still thinking about it, there's still time. So go ahead and set your registration in, and we hope to see you. We have lots of hands-on interactive booths that are coming. It'll be in the mall, and we're going to be full steam ahead next week. So we'll give you an update in December on how that went, but we're very excited about the upcoming Career Expo. So just a plug for that for next week.
And I would encourage you, if you're not bringing students and you're in the area or coming around the area, make an effort that it's open till 8 o'clock next Tuesday night. Maybe it's something you want to come to first. And then for next year, say this is, because as Cheney, we do a career fair every other year. So we're coming and bringing our 11th and 12th graders, and we're contemplating not having to do all the work of that personal career fair, because it's going to be amazing. Our internships, our apprenticeships, are going to have job applications for kids who are really walking out and doing that. Interactive booth, kids are pumped. Yes, and we have the military, and so we have. I think people are calling every day. The Hutch News ran it, and so this thing will grow. And so just something to think of as you do your process with your individual plans of study. Is it worth taking a couple of buses to bring them here, and you don't have to do the dirty work at home besides maybe reflecting and talking about what they saw and building it into your pathways and things like that? It might be the best money spent on gas transportation that your school has seen. So anyway, we're excited.
We have some upcoming workshops. When you get done with the Career Expo next week, we start again another opportunity for you to pick up project management and resource scheduling. Susan Blueball and I'll be doing that starting on the 17th, and then it is a 3-day certification process, and then the teacher gets certified. It'll be November 17, and then we come back after Thanksgiving and we do the 28th and 29th. And then for those of you that are going to ACTE, I can just let you know that Diana Fromm and I will be doing a session at ACTE on the project management. And we have the general project management out there right now, but they're in the process of developing badge-specific add-ons. And that's going to be huge, because once we get the badge-specific add-ons, then we will be able to use it as an end-of-pathway certification. Then we have the National Clearinghouse data and IPS implementation on December the 7th. Remember, those of you that are in the ESSDACK Perkins Consortium, that you have a paid training slot for that. So I want to encourage you to be sure that you utilize that. But there is, others can come as well, so just get signed up. Really excited about the veneer hands-on biology. I have a national trainer coming. Judy Day is just phenomenal. She will be here in January. We will have her, and it's a 2-day training, and she'll do 2 sets of 2 days. So we can take up to 60 teachers, 30 in each one of them. They will. There is a materials fee of $550, and that way they walk out with one of those LabQuest probe data probes that they're actually going to use during the training. They'll walk out with a CO2 gas sensor. They're going to walk out with the temperature probe, and there's like 4 or 5 different probes that they'll walk out. The sensors that walk out with that, as long with the veneer hands-on biology manual. That's got some nice labs in there that's all tied to next gen science standards. So I think that'll be very helpful to you. In February, this has actually just been added. We got everything finalized this week. Dennis Bolt from Hillsborough will be doing and introducing computer coding in your classroom on February 13 and 14, and it'll start at 8:30. You'll notice that the timing or tightening the lunch just a little bit because he does coach basketball and has a game at Halstead on the second day, and so it'll be 8:30 to 11:30, and then 12:15 to 3:15, and that way that may help some of you as coaches as well. But what this workshop is going to do is we're going to get computer coding into the classes. 2 programs, Scratch as well as App Inventor, will be demonstrated, and Scratch gives the students the ability to create functioning Android applications, and both programs will introduce programming with a drag and drop interface and are available free. And this is on February 13 and 14. So it's a way to get your Valentine's Day started in a strong way. And we are going, as you enroll, we're going to send out an information sheet because there's some things that we want to make sure that you guys do, anybody who's coming to this, before you come, so that way you'll make sure that you have a laptop that is current enough that you can do the things, that you have the free programs downloaded. And I at this point have included a materials fee so that you walk on the Nexus 7 tablet. The whole idea behind that is you don't have to have that. You can do the simulation, but we thought for at least for the PC schools to be able to actually test the coding on a device. So you'll build it on the computer and then you'll test it on the Nexus 7. We thought that would be a valuable thing. But as I said, we are going to put a coupon in the workshop registration so that if for instance, you're an Apple school, that isn't going to do you a whole lot of good unless we get some, Dennis and I, some things are in the works, is what I'm trying to say on the material fee. Then the third workshop that I have to tell you about is in March. We're going to have the hands-on animal anatomy. You remember the anatomy in clay. Well, they do have an equine model, which is a horse model, and then but that's $927 to buy the horse model. So I took a little different approach rather than having everybody buy the horse model. I got to, now this is exciting. Anatomy and Clay is loaning me 15 to 20 of the equine models to use during the workshop. So we're going to get to work on the Cadillac, which is what I call the equine model. But everybody's going to walk out with the extruder guns, a basic toolkit for clay modeling, a small cutting mat, an equine atlas pectoral CD. They don't have it for the whole model, but they have it for the pectoral section. And then Elise and I and Dan are putting together kind of a workshop handout booklet with pictures. And then you will get a supply of various colors of reusable oil-based clay. And I'll be working with Sonia over at Sonia Roberts over at Hillsboro. She has done some neat things with the sawhorse, with cow anatomy. So what I'm saying is this 2-day workshop is going to be the combination of a senior project, which is Elisa Kelly and myself and Dan Whistler over at Sterling High School, working with the equine model. And I mean, she's spending this whole semester all the way up until we have the workshop building different parts of this so that then she can help present this in March, along with Sonia doing her piece with the sawhorse, so that you guys can kind of see. I want you guys to get out of this at the end of the 2 days. Here's some things you can do if you can't buy the models and yet teach anatomy, animal anatomy, or if you could say get one of the models to take and be able to demonstrate with that kind of thing, what you can do with the Cadillac model, I guess is the best way to put it. So If you have any questions, please feel free to get a hold of me. I want you to know, you as districts, you are what make these workshops possible, these really specific type workshops. I will set up the content area, graduate credit. Some of it's already in place, some of it's still in the works, so that, for instance, the biology one, you'll be able to get science or education credit. The computer coding one, you'll be able to get computer science or education graduate credit. And the animal anatomy, we will have the graduate science credit available. So I think that's kind of exciting, but it's because of you guys each participating so that we have good numbers to make these kind of things possible.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Any questions that we could address so far?
Okay.
We'll probably wrap up our session here, but we do and welcome any feedback from any of our sessions. And also if you have topics that you would like us to present on in one of our monthly CTE webinars, we are always open to getting those ideas so we can obviously have our monthly sessions mapped out. But next month will be a little bit on from KSDE with the CTE Scholar, some of the other things that are happening with the pathway map and just general updates. But anything that you're looking for or needing, please shout out to us those needs, and we'll see if we can put that in as one of our agenda items.
I have one more thing. I put the resources down there, and so if you have any resources that you want me to share with everybody, please let me know. I'm going to share one with you that I'll put on the list, but this is just a working document from the workforce. I go to the workforce center there in Wichita, and they are putting together these amazing one-sheet pieces per sections in Kansas, or regions in Kansas. And I want you to take a look at this, and let me blow it up just a little bit. What it will list the different, across the area, and it's, instead of doing 16 clusters, they did 10. Remember, they work with a lot of adults, so they kind of combined it, and then they tried to make sure it worked, but they did 10. So they're going to have 10 of these. So this one's data and IT, and so they just did some of the major job titles that are in these areas. So in South Central Kansas, which is our area here in Wichita, there's 1,500 job openings. And so if I'm going to go down to the bottom, and it starts with high school diploma. So you're working with a kid or a family, and that kid really knows I'm not going to school. And that's, in the individual plan of study, we can only do what we can do. And so to have a real life conversation with that kid and like, okay, well, but you want to do something technical and you're going computers, let's see what's open. So if you click on the hourly rate, it goes to a link. But then I can click on the 387 job openings in assistant, call center, service desk, those type of things. And when I go there, then it's going to list the different jobs. And so if you notice, it's for Back to Kansas Works. What they've mapped this is going to be real live, up-to-date data from the labor market. And so this is to me pretty exciting, because here I was, and Stella Clark from Ottawa, she's there. I taught business, and back when web developing, and we had web kids going out doing great things. Look at these kids now. If they have a bachelor's degree in the Wichita area, there's only 7 job openings in 500,000 people in that, and plus more, because it's more than just the Wichita area. So that to me is pretty scary. And so a kid going, yeah, I want to be a web developer. I want to be a web developer. This is really something up to date to show them. Is like, okay, that's awesome, but understand, here's some salaries that are out there right now. Here's the job openings. And then the kids might see, as we've talked, not everybody needs a bachelor's. They come down here, and they might want to be as some type of certificate or technical specialist. And there's 23 openings in this area, and for $30 an hour. Okay. The other one they gave me a sample of, which I didn't put in there. It has the different ones, but I just think as these come out, I think these are going to be a great tool for us. And I believe they're going to link it on your workforce pages in your area, and then they'll put it on the labor market pages, who they're working with. So those of you who heard Tyler tendering, is that because when I was talking to the youth collaborative group there, I just said this is perfect for schools. One page, the kid can get in there. We can link this to our parents on our college and career or CTE websites, and these kids can see this data. And so I think this is going to be powerful. So they're working on it. It's a work in progress.
So do you know if they're going to add that to the Kansas Career Navigator?
Yes. They talked a lot about the Career Navigator, because I asked them, I said, oh my gosh, here's one more thing. And they said, no, they are, and I don't know. We don't know if that's phase 2, because I didn't talk to the link.
Next month.
Yeah. And so these are exciting things that you're a part of by coming to these CTE webinars that hopefully we're getting this information. There's some great things to build into your process for your families, that family and community engagement. And that's what your board wants to see here. Show the board, like, we're showing these kids, they're ultimately going to make their choices, but we're guiding them, we're giving those those pieces of information. So Clint asked, how do we get that link? I'm going to share that link with you, that the 2 that I have, the 2 copies, they're not live yet, but you can take a look and see what's coming down the pipe, because if you're building your process with your individual plans of study or sharing with your CTE teachers and advisory boards, here's one thing I tell you. I asked Tyler this question, and they said the same thing at the workforce. If you're not telling your local communities to fill out the labor market sheets, those are not going to be up to date. And so we want that community to know, hey, your information is going to be out there, and you're going to get quality kids from our school districts. So fill it out, fill it out, fill it out. So I think in education we have that communication tool, and to be able to say, you know what, pick up the piece of paper, fill it out, because our kids are ready for you. Yes, and so I will post the information on the video. You'll also get an email here. It'll shove out to all you again once. It takes about 3 hours or 4 hours to do our YouTube video to get it compiled. And so this afternoon you'll get a link with our resources on it as well. So any questions on that? I get excited when it's a one piece of paper and I can send it to parents and send it to students and go, here, take a look, one more piece. And I think those of you who are using Career Cruising or any other tool, in PowerSchool too, is that placing those links in there. So every time they're logging in, they're seeing that stuff. They're going to get used to seeing it. So, okay, I'm done.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. And again, shout out any needs or questions that you all have as we plan the upcoming webinars for you. And have a good weekend. And we'll see you next month.
And if you have any questions about the 3 workshops that I mentioned, as well as the project management, just feel free to give me a call, 620-694-9289, and I'll help you with that.
Nominate the people on here or people you don't know, and we'll call them if they're doing great things. We will call them to have them come in there. And if you're doing great things, let us know. We want you to help each other. So have a great Friday. Happy Veterans Day.